The Minnesota Vikings destroyed the Washington Commanders 31-0 in Week 14 of the NFL season, as embarrassing as it can get. So join me as we deep dive into this breakdown into what happened and how it got so bad. See you there. We lost, but we're not lost anymore. That is a quote from the head coach of the Washington Commanders, Dan Quinn. I'll repeat it one more time. We lost, but we're not lost anymore. That is what he told us on Hard Knocks after our defeat against the Broncos. And even though it was a loss, and I'm not a big moral victory guy, a win is a win, a loss is a loss. We played our hearts out that game. We played as hard as we could, and we gave them everything we got, and we were one play away from beating them on a 2-point conversion play call. And that gave us hope and optimism that we weren't lost in the forest anymore. But after this Week 14 performance against the Vikings, we're as lost as we ever been. When I tell you we were outcoached offensively, outcoached defensively, special teams-wise, every facet of the game, they outcoached us. And I'm just so baffled away because that optimism that we got is totally gone and replaced with the most embarrassing loss I can remember in some recent time. Definitely the most embarrassing loss of the Dan Quinn era. So I guess the first point we're going to start with is the ugly, the one that we all didn't want to look at. The one I made a video about last week saying, yes, play Jaden Daniels. And you know what? I stand by that. I still stand by that because he's an NFL player. That's his job. And if he's going to be on that field, he's going to get hit. So he just has to find a way to stay on the field. And unfortunately, he injured that elbow again. Now, what does that mean for Jaden Daniels and the Commanders? It's hard to really even to fathom that he is hurt again, the fourth time this year. He had the hamstring injury earlier. He had the knee injury earlier, the elbow injury the first time, and he re-aggravated it again the second time. Now, long term, it's just raising some huge red flags, as in the best ability is availability, especially at quarterback where you're touching the football every single play. And as a Washington fan, I don't need to remind all of us out there about RG3 because it's definitely giving RG3 vibes. No matter how much we want to turn a blind eye to it, no matter how much we want to deny it, no matter how many times RG3 puts a post up of him trying to reference himself with JD5, it's there. You can't ignore it. You can't ignore it. And he's a slim-figured guy. And at this point, it is what it is. But I want to get into his performance. So early in the game on our first drive, he looked good. He definitely looked in rhythm. He knew that the blitz was coming because we're facing Brian Flores, who loves to blitz on first and second down to get you in those third and long situations. And he was able to quickly get it out of his hands and find Terry for good connections on first down. So I was definitely pleased with that, how he looked, especially with the Terry aspect. But later on in the game, it seemed as our offensive line was getting a little bit overwhelmed, which was forcing Jaden to get off of his reads and scramble out the pocket, and nobody was open downfield. So it seemed like a lot of the plays were getting broken down because he wasn't able to find someone, because he wasn't able to get comfortable. So I think we should have done a better job of bringing in more protection for JD so he can find those options down the field. So all in all, I think he played a solid game, especially for missing the past 3 for his first game back. He was solid, wasn't great, but I mean, all of that just kind of gets diminished because, once again, he's injured. Now, going forward, are we going to play him again? Are we going to hold him and rest him again? That's only Dan Quinn knows that answer, and I don't even think he knows the answer right now. So we'll have to wait and see. So last video, I did state that my spotlight player of the week would be Chris Rodriguez, and he played one heck of a game, man, especially in that first drive where he was really toting it. And when we got down the field, he was averaging about 6-7 yards per carry. He was running hard, breaking arm tackles, man, doing great blitz pickup, and he was looking really fresh and looking like he really wants to take that backfield over. But as we saw, when we got down to the goal line, to about the 1 or 2 yard line, for some reason Cliff did what Cliff does, what I said even last video as well. He got cute. Instead of just running the ball in where Chris Rodriguez is getting 5 yards a pop, he tries to do some trick goal line pass play to Brandon Coleman that doesn't work, and then proceeds for the next 2 plays to do even more pass plays, which just isn't working. So I don't understand why he does that. We have the guys up front that were able to push and make room for Chris Rodriguez, and Chris Rodriguez was able to push forward. So I was definitely disappointed in that. But Chris was playing good at the beginning, but I think once the game got away from us, we got away from Chris, and it is what it is. And after JD5 got hurt, it was Mariota, and he just looked bad. He looked bad. He looked like he wasn't ready, like the whole team. And worst of all, he had the turnover. He had missed throws. But the worst thing, he gave a hospital ball to Zach Ertz, which results in what looks like to be a torn ACL. And Zach is up there in age, and we saw the emotion on his face, and it's not looking good. And I'm hoping that that's not the way he goes out in his career, because even though it's only been 2 years here in Washington, man, it's been a great 2 years, and he had a great career over with Philly. So really hope everything is good with him. But definitely Mariota was disappointing. So now I want to go over to the defense, which was god awful, which is so disappointing because ever since Dan Quinn took over, we've been looking good. I mean, we played Miami, looked great. Last week in our game, looked great. Now we just look like we reverted back to that Joe Witt defense where everyone's just running wide open in the middle of the field, or just 2 steps in front of the cornerbacks no matter what. Or don't even get me started on D-line, man. We got destroyed. Their offensive line where Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason are just running 6 yards, 7 yards, 8 yards, just like that. They ended up with about 162 rushing yards, I think. And it was just, we couldn't stop it. And that was the worst part. It didn't matter what we did. They just ran it as demeaning as you can get. And now I'm going to have to really eat my words on this one, because Big Nine, JJ McCarthy, man, he proved me wrong. He proved me all the way wrong. I thought we were going to feast on him. I thought we were going to get so much heat on him that we were going to get turnovers. We were going to get sacks, pass deflections, bonehead plays from him. But that's not what we got. What we got from JJ McCarthy was a guy that looked comfortable in there, dipping, dishing, and dining all in our zones. That looked comfortable, getting away from the pressure, making the passes out to the outside, going through 3 touchdowns. What we got from JJ McCarthy was an NFL quarterback. So I definitely eat all those words I said. And I really want to talk about one person on the defense when it comes to the coverage, because how great JJ McCarthy was. That's Mikey Sainristil, man. I gave him credit last week, and they were picking on him. They were definitely picking on him. I think they watched tape on how far back he plays sometimes on the outside corner, and they were doing a lot of comeback routes and dig routes that were short, because I think he's afraid sometimes of getting beat deep, and they definitely took advantage of that. So, hey, I'll admit when I'm wrong. JJ McCarthy, you did your thing, Nine. You did your thing. So that's all I got for this one. Embarrassed, sad, grief, sorrow, all the ways to describe how I was feeling on Sunday and how I'm feeling now. It's still here, still fresh, especially coming off that game against the Broncos. But tell me what you think. Hit it up in the comment section. Like, subscribe, all that. Right now, we're sitting at about 27 subscribers. And as I said before, my main goal right now is to get to 50 before the end of the year. So I think we can do that with you all's help. So I appreciate it, and see you next time. Goodbye.